University of Missouri St. Louis College of Education podcast. Hello and welcome. My name is David Stouffer and I get to be the recruitment coordinator for the UMSL College of Education. Each week on this podcast, we will meet an innovator in the field of education. We will spend some time getting to know them and learning about their work and how it can help you in yours. It is my sincere hope that this podcast will be a source of encouragement and support as you work to continue impacting lives as an educator. My guest today is Dr. Ellen Duncan. She is the director of the Bachelor of Educational Studies program here at the University of Missouri St. Louis. Welcome, Dr. Duncan.
Hey, it's great to be here today, Dave.
Tell me a little bit about you, a little bit about your past and your career in education and your role here at UMSL.
So I've been an advisor here at UMSL for 5 years now, and it's my retirement job. So I have a background. I was a middle school and high school social studies teacher and also an assistant principal. And it is great to be at UMSL working with students from across the area to get their degrees. So I really see myself as a translator who helps students access higher education in a meaningful way so that they can get to their degrees in a way that makes sense for them.
Walk me through your journey as an educator. Where did you get your bachelor's degree and where did your career finish up?
So I have an undergraduate degree from Mizzou in social studies education, have my master's degree from UMSL in curriculum and instruction for secondary education. So like I was going to write curriculum for high school. Then I went to the dark side, according to some of my colleagues, and became a high school administrator and middle school administrator as well. So I have a doctorate degree from St. Louis University, and I retired about 10 years ago and was kind of looking around for what next. It took me about 5 years to find academic advising, and I really, really love being of service to students. So with this Bachelor of Educational Studies degree, it is a great degree program for so many students, whether you're coming in as a true freshman, you're coming in as a transfer student from another community college or university, or you're really close to getting a degree and you've been out of school for a while, we can get you in, we can see what makes sense for you.
Mm-hmm. So the Bachelor of Educational Studies degree is a non-teaching certification degree, correct?
Absolutely.
So what is the appeal? What is the degree program, and why would somebody be interested in it if they didn't want to be a teacher?
So there are so many jobs that involve educating and teaching, but not in a classroom, not in a K-12 setting or an early childhood certification program that you have to have a teaching certificate for that. So it's for informal educators, and we've got 4 tracks in that. We've got early childhood education that does not lead to teacher certification, exercise science and wellness, park and museum programs, and youth and adult development. So with each of those tracks, some of them, if you have early childhood, that's working with childcare. Exercise science and wellness, those are fitness programs, things like working for corporate wellness programs, recreation centers, park and museum programs. It's working in parks and museums in their education departments. And youth and adult development, it's working with organizations and agencies that serve the public, that there is an education component to their job. But with this track, it's something that you have your general education requirements. Every degree, no matter what from UMSL, you got to have those general education requirements, that math, science, humanities, communications proficiency, all that. Then we have the BES core, the Bachelor of Educational Studies core, and that is a series of classes that gives you background information in things like child and adolescent development and social justice, but also things that are more leadership focused so that you can work into leadership positions in whatever your area of emphasis is. So it's things like grant writing and interpretation, which is a specialized speech class, digital marketing. So those kinds of classes that, employers want to see that you have those skills. Then you have your area of emphasis, whether it's that exercise science and wellness, early childhood, park museum, youth and adult development, that you can pick your area of emphasis. And then you have the opportunity at the end of this program to do 3 internships where you're out in the field practicing your skills, learning more about positions that you could possibly move into. I have to say those internships are really transformative for a lot of our students. I've had students who, I know I really want to be in early childhood, and then they are working with an organization in their internship that serves adults with special needs, and they are now in a special needs field. I have students who they really think they want to work in exercise science and wellness. They do an internship at a senior facility, memory care facility, and that is the work that they go into. Park and museum programs, some are like, I only want to work in a museum, and then they do an internship with an outdoor education experience. Yeah, they're working outdoor education now. So those internships can be really transformative. We have internships all across the area that we have partners with for the internships, but students also can find their own internships. I literally have a student who last fall ran off and joined the circus. It's something that we have a lot of flexibility. You don't have to just do internships that we arrange. You also can find your own internship.
You and I, in the work we did as administrators, met a lot of student teachers. And sadly, a lot of student teachers don't go into education after they have that experience. They realize this classroom work is not for me. I'm not going to be a classroom teacher. What type of a person, and it would be great if we could take that person back in time and introduce them to the BES program, but what type of a person would we want to encourage to really take a serious look at the BES program? Who's a good candidate for this type of a program?
So here's the deal. With this program, you develop skills that apply to a broad array of jobs in the world of work. You could go into the corporate world with a strong set of skills because, everybody who hires, you and I were hiring administrators. You want people who play well with others. You want people with a strong work ethic who are passionate about what they're doing and are going to be problem solvers. And this degree program, with your experiences at UMSL, through your coursework and through your internships, you really have an opportunity to develop those skills. Mm-hmm. We also can build it. We have a lot of people who are older students. Average age of students at UMSL is 26. So it's not like it's a bunch of 19, 20-year-olds. Though we do have those in the program, we have a lot of the older students as well. Who already have been in the world of work. Well, we can augment what you already have as skills. As an advisor, I have the flexibility to tailoring a program that makes sense for you, that builds your skill base so that you can build on your professional life and the jobs that you take.
Talk more about jobs. And you mentioned a couple occupations that some of your students have gone into. Mm-hmm. Long-term, what are the job opportunities for students to go through the BES program? What are we looking at here?
So it's something that I tell students. A lot of them come through and they're like, well, I don't know what kind of job I want to get. I'm like, well, you need to plan out, if you don't know what you want to do, where do you want to be in 3 years, 5 years, 10 to 20 years? What jobs and positions should you work into so that you are up to the point where you want to be after 10 years? With an undergraduate degree, there are some people who are just looking for an entry-level position. What's going to build your skills and your exposure? For students who they're finishing a degree, they're already out in the world of work. We're doing this degree because they know they've hit a ceiling that without a degree, they're not going to go above. Again, it's customizing a program so that they're building skills so that the degree helps them to further their employment opportunities. It's something that, I could say, this is the path everybody should take. Every BES student is so very different. And that's why I have a lot of flexibility in customizing so that we can do what makes sense for you.
Mm-hmm. So in my experience, I was not involved in a BES program. It didn't exist when I went to college a long time ago. I got my degree in exercise science, but I realized after a few years into that I wanted to become a teacher. Do you have students that go through the BES program and then later on think, I really should have been a teacher all along?
So for some people, they come into the BES program knowing that they're going to get teacher cert, but because they need so many credit hours to get an undergraduate degree in teacher certification just doesn't make sense. So I work with the students who know they want to be certified teachers to come up with a sequence of classes that we can work in a few classes that will meet our graduate level teacher certification requirements, because we've got 3 graduate level teacher certifications that you can come into at UMSL. There's a GPA minimum, but it's something that, some people know coming into the BES, I want to be a teacher. For those coming in, with our graduate level teacher certification programs, you can have a degree in anything as long as you have at least a 2.5 grade point average. Mm-hmm. So it's something with teacher certification, the door is never closed. Mm-hmm. At UMSL, we have the programs that if you have an undergraduate degree and you come back in 10 years, decide you want teacher cert, we can do that with you. Mm-hmm. But like I said, some people come into the BES, they already know they want teacher cert, but it makes more sense to finish their undergrad degree and then come into a master's program.
So somebody that's knows they want to be an educator, they're not sure what direction to go. They're looking at either becoming a teacher and they're looking at the BES program. What advice do you give someone in that situation where they're trying to figure out their career path? They want education. They're just not sure specifically which is right for them.
Come talk to me. Flat out. Get in contact with us. Get on my schedule. I meet with students all of the time. It's something that I advise from 18 to literally 60-year-olds. And I really strive to have a discussion with students about, what are your dreams? What is reality of what we can get done? What are your interests? Where do you see yourself? Some of that career planning kinds of things, and really work through what a degree could look like for you that makes sense, that helps you reach your goals and get that college degree.
You mentioned one of your students actually joined the circus.
Yeah.
What's a success story or a story of one of your students that you really think and remember and always smile about when you think about it?
There's so many of those. It's the student who came into my office last week really excited because she'd been part-time for a local service agency, and they hired her on full-time. She came by my office last week to drop off her business card. She was so excited to be able to bring that to me. A student I'd worked with for quite some time. She had come from the restaurant industry. I have another student who's finishing up an internship working with senior citizens, a memory care unit. Again, someone out of the restaurant field who, I don't know what I want to do. And I'm like, think about this internship. Is working with seniors, working with that memory unit, and absolutely loves it. He's been hired full-time on there. Different organizations around town. I mean, I've got someone who's working at the Magic House. I've got someone working for a local county in their parks department, doing outdoor education and working as a ranger. I mean, I've got students all over town doing an amazing amount of stuff. But then I also have a student who just let me know 2 weeks ago, he is an exercise science and wellness major, graduated in December. His goal for the last 3 years has been to become a physical therapist and enter a graduate program in physical therapy. He took the prereqs to get into a physical therapy program. He's been admitted. He'll start his physical therapy program in the fall. So I hear so many success stories and hear from students all over, and it's just so much fun to see what they're doing.
It's amazing to think how the field of education has changed over the years, where to be a teacher was pretty much it, but now there's so many opportunities out there. I had a great conversation with a graduate who works for a small company in their HR department, and it's her job to educate all of the employees on the different benefit packages and different resources available to them. And she loved it. So teaching is not all about being in a classroom all day long with kids, although it can be. Teaching involves so much more, and I appreciate you taking the time to share us a little bit about that today. Thank you, Dr. Duncan.
Anytime. And again, anybody interested, get in touch with us. Get on my schedule. I'll talk to you about anything.
So to reach Dr. Duncan or any of our advisors here at the College of Ed, you can contact me anytime. David Stouffer, Recruitment Coordinator, UMSL College of Education, 314-243-0773. Thanks very much, Dr. Duncan. I appreciate your work. I am honored that you chose to join me today for the University of Missouri St. Louis College of Education podcast. I hope you'll join me next time. Till then, I'm David Stouffer. Thank you for the work you do. Never forget, you are making a difference every day.